So I knew I had an alternator problem. I tried to baby the car home. Tried to get home. I got the alternator on the way. It'll be here tomorrow. Thought I could baby the car home. I was about 15 minutes away. Driving, next thing you know, codes just start flashing up on the dash. My speed gauge just goes down to 0 as I'm moving. The steering wheel locks up on me. So right now we wait on the tow truck. I knew the alternator was bad. Like I said, it's on the way. Plan on putting it in tomorrow as soon as it came in, but my luck just ran out. Sitting on the side of the road. Can't even put my emergency lights on because everything's dead. Man, like I said, I can't even put my emergency flashes on because everything's dead. It's about 5 o'clock. We got hella traffic coming through too, so hopefully this tow truck hurry up. Tow truck finally pulled up. Let's get this thing home, man, so I can knock this alternator out. Well, he hooked it up. Forgot all about it. It was dead, so we couldn't even put it in neutral. So we're stuck. I'm calling my boy Evan. He's coming back. We're gonna try to jump it from the back just to throw it in neutral so we can get it up on the bed. Yeah, man, we're going through it right now. It's all good though. We're gonna get it taken care of. Everything happens for a reason. It's just more content for my channel, I guess. My boy Evan pulled back up. We about to jump it, try to throw it in neutral. Finally got that thing on there. It was a little scary. My boy Evan said it was looking a little low. Damn, man, sad to see a whip on the flatbed. Made it to the crib. All right, so first up, we're gonna be removing this coolant hose. We're taking a flathead and pulling out this tab. I got a microfiber towel to have under me so I don't have any coolant leak down onto my belt. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this vacuum line and get it out the way. Go ahead and take a flathead and take out my first intake cone. Next, I'm gonna start removing my charge pipe, starting down here with this coupler on the this radiator hose. Take a flathead, disconnect that, and then I'll disconnect the top end of the charge pipe from the throttle body. I also went ahead and took out my second intake because it was in the way of removing it from the throttle body. I disconnected the T-map sensor up top. I'm gonna just set the charge pipe to the side. All right, next thing you want to do is take either a bungee cord, a wire, whatever you have, and tie it onto your serpentine belt. So when we release the tensioner, we won't lose the belt down to the bottom. We'll already have it up top. I just got some wiring and got it tied to my mirror on the side to keep the tension. I couldn't get the T60 to actually fit down in there with the tensioner, so I'm gonna end up taking the fan out and removing a screw for this cross pipe so I can back it off and have access to the tensioner. To remove the fan, it's gonna be a T20 here and another T20 on the driver's side underneath. So you may have to remove the belly pan. I already have mine off, and then just disconnect the power, and you should be able to pull this straight out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know if I can show you guys. There's a screw right there for this cross pipe. I'm gonna back that out so I can have room, have a little room to play right here, so I can get into this tensioner. All right, so I got the tensioner to release by turning it to the right. I got the belt off the alternator, and like I said, I got the wire attached so I can keep it in place without it falling down and we losing track of which pulleys it goes over. So now that I have the belt free, I'm gonna go ahead and start removing the 4 bolts that hold in the alternator. You have 2 right here, and you have 2 on the bottom right there. This is gonna be a 13 millimeter. All right, so I got those 4 bolts out, 2 up top, 2 on the bottom. Disconnected the power from the alternator. Try to get the alternator out without lifting the intake manifold, but it's pretty much impossible without doing this. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the whole cowl up here and start loosening these bolts on the intake manifold so we can lift it up a couple inches to have leverage to push the alternator out to the right. Okay, so I've loosened the intake manifold. It was about 6 bolts you had to get off of here, and they're going to be 7/16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a bolt right here at the very front you had to remove, and this should be loose now. We can lift it up so we can push the alternator out to the right. So now the alternator won't rub on here. Once I lift this up, I can take the rubber mallet and knock the alternator out to the right so we can rotate it and pull it out. One last thing I did forget to mention is we need to remove the these wiring from the voltage regulator right here. There's a clamp on the bottom side right here. You just pinch in and it should pull straight out. There we go. Alright, got the new alternator opened up. Shout out FCP Euro for the fast shipping. Even sent me a little shirt. I don't wear V-necks, but I appreciate it. So I'm gonna do the same thing and tilt it to the right and turn it back inwards to have it to fit. Okay, so probably the hardest thing about this job is putting the new alternator back in the car. Especially since we're not taking out the oil filter housing. These two right here are rubbing on the bottom of the oil filter housing, so I'm going to take this grinder and grind out on this left side and see if that helps any. As you can see, just grinded it down a little bit at an angle so we can fit right here underneath this oil filter housing. It won't hit up against this. I also took the grinder and maybe a millimeter off of each one of those openings for the bolts to go through, so it won't be such a tight snug fit, so we can just loosely get it in there. You see it's not hitting anymore. We're pretty much lined up. That much easier without taking out the oil filter housing. Removing the intake manifold is a must though, because you need to have clearance to get under it or over it, however you want to call it. So that definitely helps. So I got it lined back up. I'm gonna take the tensioner and turn it back so I can put their belt back over top of the new alternator, and then I'm gonna start putting in the 4 bolts that hold in the alternator. Alright, so you see I got the belt back over the new alternator. Alright, so I went ahead and put the intake manifold back in, tied off all the bolts. I connected this back, put the power supply back on, put this connection back on at the bottom. Now I'm gonna start putting the charge pipe back in. So I got the charge pipe back in, dual cone intakes back on, vacuum line back on. Fan back in, power back on. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cowl back in, and that should do it really.